Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of The Art Spot. I'm Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys could be joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and going to welcome in our friends joining us on Instagram as well so they can be part of our show. Going to type a quick welcome message into them. We're also going to be connected with our friends over on Amazon so we can get into today's program. So glad you guys have shown us so much love here at The Art Spot, and I really appreciate you guys spending some time with me as we've been able to bring art projects to life. And we're now live on Amazon Live for this week's episode of The Art Spot. So welcome to you guys tuning in on Amazon. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button either here in this corner or down below. You also will see what I'm using for today's show. And if you've been following us, I'm going to go ahead and type in a quick welcome message here. Make sure to unmute if you guys are on the Amazon side. Make sure to unmute and follow. So again, I appreciate you guys being with us. This is our first month of the official launch of the Art Spot. It's our live art demonstration show here on Amazon. So I'm excited you guys can be with us as we've been going throughout this first month. We kicked off with a bang by drawing a photo of TAMRON Hall. That's what we're going to be working on today. So I'm going to be showing you guys that. That's what we've been drawing this week. Now, I'm going to go through really quickly exactly what I'm using for today's show. Because again, you guys are going to be drawing live with me. That's the cool thing about this show. This is a live show, so you guys will see it as it all comes together. Any mistakes that I make, how I clean those up. And hopefully what this is able to do is not only to entertain you, but also for those of you who are artists or part of the creative community, give you the courage to be able to show up with your talent as well. I'm already working on what our next project is going to be. I'm excited about that. It's actually going to be a painting. I'm already planning that. So make sure you guys are following us on the Amazon platform and stay connected with all of our things. So let's go through exactly what I'm using for today's show. First thing I'm going to be using for those tuning in on Amazon is my Charles Leonard ruler here. This is my 36-inch ruler. You guys can see here. And if you guys remember, if you guys joined me for the first week of me drawing TAMRON Hall, I use this because the photo that we're drawing from is an 8x10. However, you guys know we're actually drawing it larger. We're drawing it as a 16x20. So that means I needed something to be able to measure out 16 inches by 20 inches. Of course, a regular 12-inch ruler would not have worked for that. So that's why I like this one by Charles Leonard. You can get this one right now for $6.29. Of course, any artist or also anyone around their home, if you guys have kids or work on projects, you do need a pencil sharpener. So I have mine here. I'll be using it throughout the show. You can be able to get this pencil sharpener right now for $8.99. That's $8.99 for the pencil sharpener. And of course, I'm using my Amazon Basic pencils. I love Amazon Basic because they come already sharpened for you, which I love. Then, of course, as you'll be able to work on them, if you have to do any erasing, whatever, has your erasers there too. You can get a full box of the Amazon Basic number 2 pencils. You can get it there. It's on sale right now for $4.63. In fact, I'm probably going to buy another box because, again, as an artist, now that this is a part of my Amazon live shows, I'll be using a whole lot more pencils as well. Also, you'll see my Mr. Pen erasers. I use these as well as I'm working. You can see here, you can get a pack of these. They're on sale right now for $4.99 for a pack of them. And again, the pack is somewhere around here. If you guys did not see the pack before, but they do come in a pack for you guys. And again, I have the pack, and it's, again, $4.99 for the pack of the erasers. The next up we're using are these sketching pencils. So I'm going to be using more of those probably today because I think we're going to get pretty far into the show with drawing TAMRON Hall today for the Art Spot. So this is the set that I use, and this is the set that I recommend. You can get this for $15.99. And the reason why I like them, not only do you have different grades of your pencils, you can see here, it also comes with blending sticks. We're going to be using those a little bit later, more than likely. It comes with an eraser here as well. And with this particular set, you're able to close it up and even easily travel with it. So if when you're not using it, all I have to do is roll it up and be able to use the clasp to be able to connect with it, to be able to close it up for when I'm not using it. So you can easily be able to do that and to be able to carry it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like when you have it rolled up here. And so you're able to easily just be able to close it up there, so you don't have to worry about your pencils and everything falling out. You can get this for $15.99. And again, I love this because it has different grades, what we call grades of pencils, but basically mean they're different shades, right? So some are going to be lighter, some are going to be darker. As we're doing some of the things today with her hair and stuff, you'll see me using some of the darker grades for that. So I'll show you that a little bit later. And the last but certainly not least, of course, you guys see, if you're an artist, you want something for your studio, have my artist studio sign here. You can get it for $12.98 right now, $12.98 for the art sign. And then, of course, I'm using my overhead camera mount here. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up for you guys. This is great for content creators, but also it's great for anyone that wants to get overhead shots as well, especially for programs like this. So again, it's on sale right now for 23% off. You can get it for $26.08. And this again is an overhead camera mount. It comes with a light on it as well, as you can see here. So a light that makes it very easy to be able to attach to your desk. Have mine attached to my bookcase here in the art studio here at Studio A. But this definitely comes in handy. Okay, so now that we've gotten all the technical things out of the way, so now you know exactly what I'm going to be using as we getting into our project for today. So again, if you guys are just joining, IG Live with Angela, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on IG. For those who are just tuning in for the first time and you're wondering, what is this guy doing? This is my show, The Art Spot, on Amazon Live, where we simulcast it on social. 2 weeks ago, we started drawing a picture of the one and only TAMRON Hall. Of course, she's an Emmy award-winning journalist. She's a talk show host, as well as, of course, a New York Times bestselling author. I saw this picture and I said, you know what? I'm going to draw this for my show. So that's what we've been working on. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get started. I don't know how far we're going to get. Each one of these shows are an hour. I don't know how far we're going to get, but it's going to be fun to be able to do this along with you. So if you missed any of the previous shows, you can find them here on Amazon. So if you wondered how we got here, but I'm going to quickly walk you through where we are and also where we're picking up today. So there you can see where we are currently. So how did we get here? Well, I started off with the photo. Again, this was my source material here for TAMRON, okay, that I'm using, okay? So I started off with the source material. After we get the source material, then what I have to do is figure out the dimensions for what I'm doing. As I mentioned to you guys, I'm doing this as an 8x10, which is what this is here. So I wanted to be able to make mine twice as large, right? And so I made mine then, instead of an 8x10, I made mine a 16x20. So I did it twice the size of my source material that you see here, all right? So how did I do that? I'm working on a canvas here, and I'm going to highlight the canvas for you guys on Amazon. You'll see these are the 16x20 canvases that I'm using right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hold it up for you guys to see. So you guys can see, so this is textured. And these, I love doing these with portraits because it allows you to be able to get some really good texture on the pictures that you're doing. So that's why I chose to do, instead of paper, I'm doing this actually on a canvas. So this is what this is, a canvas that I'll be able just to be able to hang up when I'm finished. So again, this is a 16x20 canvas that I'm using today. And then what I did after I mapped it out, then I started sketching it in. So we did that during week 1, okay? We did that during week 1. And so now week 2, we started filling everything in, and that's what you're seeing here. We made some corrections. I may still have some more corrections to do. I'll be able to look at that today to be able to see. And so today what we're going to do is still be concentrating on her face, but also we're going to add some more dimension to her hair, because if you can see, her hair is kind of light right now. You can see there. We're going to make that a little bit darker, and the way we're going to do that is use some of our pencils that I showed you guys earlier. You can see her hair there is really black. Before I do that, though, I want to make sure I have her hair the correct height. So a lot of this, the way that you're able to make portraits look more like the person is making sure you're checking your dimensions. So what you'll notice I'm doing as I'm working today, I'll be repeatedly checking my dimensions to make sure that the dimensions that I have are correct for the face and for the proportions of everything else that we're doing in our drawing. And again, you guys are going to be able to do this along with me as we're working. So you guys ready to get started? So let's go ahead and get started then. First, I'm going to just do what I call some scouting. And in scouting, what that means is I'm basically going to be, bring this up larger for you guys. I'm going to be checking to see where I'm at right now from last week, okay? So I use a piece of paper just to be able to keep from smearing what I'm working on. Just a simple sheet of paper. And what I'm going to do first is make sure I have a good eraser. I'm going to go in and just kind of check to see what my dimensions are looking like, okay? So what I do to do that is, you saw me doing this actually last week. I'm looking at this side of her face and I'm thinking, I can bring in this side of her face a little bit more. So I'm probably going to be doing that. Also, I'm going to lighten up this area here that you guys see. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer so you guys can see it. I'm going to lighten up this area here because I'm going to make it so her ear is a little bit more visible, even though her hair is coming down over, as you can see there, her hair is coming down over her ear. You do see a bit of her ear there, so I'm going to be lightening that up today. And so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in here and I'm going to do the lightening part first. So basically what I'm going to do is erase the ear that I currently have, so that I can be able to draw it back and have it more prominent. So you can see there, okay? So we're going to erase it, and we're going to make it more prominent. The other thing I'm going to do is, as I'm looking at this, I'm checking to see, okay, what are the dimensions like from her eye to the side of her face? And again, a lot of this is going to be trial and error. Okay, so as I'm looking at this, it looks like I could bring in the shape of her face a little bit more. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring in the shape of her face a little bit more on this side. There we go. So I'm bringing in the shape of her face a little bit more, which means then I'm going to be erasing this here. And this is why I always start off with the number 2 pencil first, because with the number 2 pencil, it's a lot easier to erase than if I had started off with one of the darker pencils that I have here. So as you can see, and you can already see the difference that makes just by making that one little change. See that? By making that one little change, you can see the difference that makes. So now what we're going to do, I want to put her ear back in. So before I do that, I'm going to go back in here and do some erasing again for where I have currently have where her ear was. And I'm going to go ahead now and draw her ear back in, but keeping in mind that some of it is going to be covered up by her hair. Okay. So we just want enough to be able so her ear can be seen. And then keep in mind too, as you remember from our source material, her head is turned. So she's not looking exactly straight ahead at us. You can tell by the shape, see by the way of the drape of her outfit, that she's kind of at an angle. So keep that in mind too as we're drawing, that everything is not going to be head on. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down, and then I'm still checking dimensions. So what I typically will do is one trick that I've learned, and I have my art teacher, Betty Phelps from high school, to credit for this. One of the things I do when it comes to mouths is I see exactly where the corner of the mouth is coming in relation to the eyes. And what I see here is that, as you can see here, as I'm drawing this, the corner of her actual corner of her eye is exactly where the end of her lip is, which means mine should be the same way. The same thing on this side. So that's a great thing to be able to keep in mind when it comes to proportions. When you're drawing, is to look for the pieces of the face that will kind of help to guide you as to what you're drawing and how it's supposed to look. Okay, so as I see here, the corner of my eye here, that means her lip should come to here. All right, so that means then I have to do some adjustment there, and that's fine. That's what we're doing in this period. The same thing on this end. The corner of her eye should be exactly where her lips are. Now, this one is about right. So I don't have to do anything different there. Okay. You may be wondering about this here, that line there. What that line is, if you can see there, the reason why I have that line there, if you'll notice in her face, that's where I'm going to give the highlights for her cheekbone. That's there. But what I'm going to do, because since I'm doing some changing on the face currently, I'm going to lighten up that line a little bit. So I'm just going to take my eraser and just lighten that line up. Because now that I'm working more on the face, I'll be able to do more blending there. See that? How I'm able to blend that out? And that'll come in handy more often. I'm using my brush here just to be able to get some of the excess off. And the brush that I'm using here is just part of my brush set that I have. Let's see if I have them in the carousel there for you guys. Go ahead and mark it. Hey, Wendy, good to be able to see you. Like you can just, so Wendy, this is another one of our shows. So on Mondays, so we have something pretty much every day, Wendy, except for on Saturdays typically. So on Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern, I host this show called The Art Spot, and that's where we do live art projects. So consider me, you're a newer generation of Bob Ross. So we're doing this picture right now of TAMRON Hall. That's what we're drawing here. So you can see there. That's what we're working on today. And once I finish this one up, Wendy, I'm going to be doing another abstract. I love abstract. And I'm going to be doing that actually in acrylic and paint. So I'm glad you could be able to join us over there on Amazon. And I see you guys also over there on YouTube, Facebook, hello to you, on Instagram. Glad you all could be with us as well. So again, what I'm doing now is just softening up some of these lines. And as I do this, you'll start to be able to see her coming out more. And again, this is all part of the trial and error. A lot of times when you start drawing a picture like this, when I first started, you're not going to see everything exactly the way it's supposed to be initially. But the more you're able to work on it, and that's why I always tell people, work on the dimensions first. Because the main thing is, as long as I make sure her head's the right length and all of that, that's going to make it a lot easier when I'm doing everything else, okay? So I'm noticing, see, I did the work over on this side. You can already tell the difference in my doing that. Also see some work I need to do on her eyes too, but that's going to be for a little bit later. What I'm going to do now is come over to this side. And again, what I mentioned, I'm just using just a regular sheet of paper, as you can see there. A regular sheet of paper to be able to use, just to make sure I'm not smearing the actual drawing as I'm going along. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just checking this side of her face now to make sure that I have it the correct angle as far as her chin going down to her, going up to her cheek. So I'm seeing a little bit of adjustment I need to make there. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. And then once I get that done, I'm going to go ahead and erase. Again, this is why having a great eraser is good. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Mr. Pen eraser here. So what I'm going to do is go in here and I'm going to erase this side of her face. And even her where her ear is, I'm going to go ahead and erase that as well because I'm seeing that is sticking out too much as well. And again, this is all part of when you're doing a photo like this, making sure that, again, you're checking the dimensions, but also don't box yourself in. Meaning for myself, imagine if I had done this in pen or done it in acrylic. It would make it a whole lot more difficult to fix the things that we're fixing now. So that's why I'm glad that I can be able to fix it easily now. And then also what I'm noticing is I'm now going to put her ear back in because we do want her to have an ear, making sure that her hair is not too far out there. And I'm noticing that I did do that. So I'm bringing in her hair some. And again, all these little things are what's going to help our subject come to life. See, you can already see the difference there. See the difference? So as we're going through, so next thing I'm going to do is, again, bring in the hair. Now, it looks like the hair is coming right down to the tip of the nose as far as the length goes. So I want to make sure that that fits right there. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to check to see about the height of her hair. Okay. That may sound weird to say, but sometimes you can give someone too much hair and it changes the shape of their face. So to be able to check her hair, I'm going to take my ruler again And again, this is why these rulers and things like this are so important. So I'm going to take my ruler again. And what I'm going to measure is, I'm going to do it on this one. As you notice, this is the one that I actually mapped out, where I took a black and white of it here. So I'm going to check to see what her height of hair is. You heard me correctly, what the height of her hair is. So what I'm going to measure is from the top of her head to where I'm going to call it her bangs there. So it's almost an inch and a half. Okay. So if it's an inch and a half, that means the one that I have drawn should be at least 3 inches, because keep in mind, since I'm drawing it twice as large, everything's going to be doubled. Okay. Everything's going to be doubled. So let's go up here to see if this is 3 inches. If it's 3 inches, we're good. If it's a little bit short of 3 inches, we can work with that. If it's more than 3 inches, we're going to need to take some hair off, because that means the shape of her face is not going to look correct based on all the other dimensions that we have, okay? So let's go ahead and do the measuring here. So I'm going to go through, in fact, what I'm going to do, this is, when I'm doing things like this, sometimes I have to turn it upside down. So I'm going to turn it upside down here. Okay. All right. So that's going to make it easier for me to be able to do my measuring. So again, remember the number I'm looking for is 3 inches. Anything over 3 inches, we need to take some of it down. So again, I'm going to measure from what I'm calling her bangs all the way to the top of her head. And look at that. It is right. It's at 3 inches. So we're good. We don't have to worry about doing anything else from what we have. Only thing we have to do is make sure that we shape her hair correctly, because that again is going to add to people being able to look at this drawing and say, hey, that looks like X, Y, or Z. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it turned upside down for right now. I'm going to take my my black and white copy of the picture that we're drawing from. Okay. I'm going to take that. I'm going to put it here by my side, because what I want to do now is to check and see if I have the shape of her hair correct. That's what I'm checking for now. So now that I know I have the right length of the right height of hair, now it's just making sure the shape is correct. Now, let me tell you the easiest way to do this. Now, again, this is from me as an artist. And again, for other artists out there, you may have your own way. But notice notice where her ear is. If we're able to just go straight around, you see how it curves up there and then goes down. So that's why I want to see if mine does that. It goes straight up and then curves down. Okay, mine is a little off. So see, this is where this comes in handy. So I have some choices to make here. Mine's a little off. So when I was doing my curve just now, starting from here, going up, I'm noticing, see how that is off. Okay, that is off. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to make the decision to do, is to take some of the hair off. Because what that will do is to ensure that I'm able to have it so that it's not too much, but she's still recognizable. So to do that, I'm just going to take my eraser and basically giving her a trim. And what I want to make sure it does is, when I'm going from the ear around, now that's better. I want to make sure that it is curved in a way, the way her hair is, that it fits her face. Okay. And again, you'll sometimes have to make decisions like this. You'll have to see things you need to adjust. Keep in mind, too, as a creative, you don't want to draw everything exactly like it is or paint something exactly like it is. You want to be able to add your own dimension to it. Okay. So that's also what I'm doing here, too. I'm adding my own dimension to it. Another way I'm going to be able to do that is I'm going to make this what they call a mixed media. So yes, I am drawing it primarily in pencil, but there will be accents of color in both her outfit, on her face, and in the background. So that's going to make it what they call a mixed media piece, where it's a combination of not just pencil, but also of color as well. Herschel, hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on IG. Roy, hello to you. Good to be able to see you as well. For those that are just tuning in, welcome. You all are watching the Art Spot here on Amazon Live. I'm Cyrus Webb. You guys probably know. You probably used to see me interview people, but I'm also an artist. The first time I was actually in the newspaper was in 1999, and that was because of my art. So I've been doing art longer than I've been doing anything else that you guys know me for, whether it's radio or television. But I'm excited now to be working with Amazon to bring this weekly show to Amazon. You can catch us here every Monday live from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern time, where we work on different art projects live. I'm your modern day Bob Ross now. So we'll do paintings, we'll do portrait drawings like we're doing now with TAMRON HALL. We'll do abstract work, we'll do arts and crafts as well, all featuring some of our Amazon partners and the products that they have. So if you guys are just coming in, welcome. What we're doing right now is we're working on the base, what we call the base of Tamron. Before I make her hair any darker, which I'm showing you guys how we do that, before I add any more context to her face and her eyes, shape up her eyes, get her lips and everything in, what we're basically are doing right now is just making sure all her proportions are right. And once the proportions are right, then we can do a better job of being able to fill everything in. I think it's pronounced Cahol. Hello to you. Good to be to see you over there on IG as well. Okay. All right. So again, what we're basically doing right now, as I mentioned with the hair, I was shaving off a little bit of her hair because we want to be able to make sure that we have the shape correct. Okay. So that's what we're doing right now. Just making sure we have the shape correct for her hair so that, again, we want people to be able to look at this and say, hey, that looks like TAMRON HALL. So again, that's what we're doing now. And as you can see, as we're doing that, you can see more of her face coming into view. I'll raise it up for you guys to be able to see. Again, I know it's upside down for you guys. It's better for me to have it on this end closer to me as I'm working on this part. Then I'm just going to take my brush and that's going to take away the erase marks there. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's that. All right. All right, so we're going to go on to our next thing. Again, making sure that the shape of her hair matches what we have. So you see how if her hair is going up, you see how there's like a dent here. You see that? So that's what we want to make sure that we have when we're doing ours as well. Again, to be able to fit the shape of her head. Okay? Okay. All right. Now we're going to move on to the next point. Now, the next thing we're going to be checking for are going to be her eyebrows and her eyes. Now, I can already see, and some of you may be saying, Cyrus, her eyes are too big. Well, actually, it's not that her eyes are too big. What it is, the reason why I made her eyes the size that I did, if you'll notice, there's a lot of eyeshadow there. You see that? She has a smoky eye effect. So what I did was I made it this size so I could be able to fill in that smoky eye effect that you guys see on the actual picture. So you can see her eyes there. They look wider because of, as you can see there, the eyeshadow that's there that goes almost up to where her eyebrows are. You see that? So it creates almost this smoky eye effect. And that's what we're going to be giving her here. So that's why my eyes appear to be larger on what I've drawn. But by the time we finish doing the shadows, that's going to help us bring them in. So just to kind of let you know about that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to check on her nose. So basically what we did last week, if you guys were watching us last week, we made sure that the dimensions between her nose and her eyes was correct. We knew that they were. But now what we want to do is do a little bit of work on her nose. So we want to give her a little bit of a nose adjustment. On this side, because what I'm noticing is I have the nostril a little bit larger than it needs to be. So I'm going to bring that in over here so that the nostril fits more what our source material is like that. Then we're going to erase the extra here. And see, like I mentioned, all of these little things are going to make the drawing look a whole lot more realistic. Okay. All right, so that's that. Next thing we're going to be able to check is her lips. Now, you may notice I haven't filled in her lips at all, and that's because, quite honestly, I had some questions about the lips when I was drawing them, if I had them the right shape. So there's a couple of things that I have to look at to figure out if I have the lips going in the right direction. Now, let's look at what we have with the color picture first, okay? So you can see her lips are closed. That's one thing. And it's almost in like a half smile. You see that? So her lips are closed, but if you notice almost where her dimples are there, she's almost giving us a half smile there. You see that? So what I want to make sure I do with mine is making sure that I'm still replicating that. So what I'm noticing right now, just by looking at it, that I do have her lips crooked. That's going to be an easy fix. But again, the way I'm able to know that is I know currently that I do have her lips going a little bit too much on this side. And again, keep in mind, one thing we have to always remember is that her face is turned. So I think what I did initially when I was drawing this, I course corrected and did it too much. So what I'm going to be able to do now is to be able to soften where her eyes are there as well. The real Tarek, maybe. Hello to you. You're lovey. Hello to you. Good to be able to see you over there on IG as well. Again, for those who are just coming in, you're watching the Art Spot here on Amazon Live, but we're simulcasting this on social. I'm Cyrus Webb, showing you guys our work on the drawing we're doing of TAMRON Hall that's here. We're doing it on a 16 by 20 canvas. It's going to be, we're doing it in pencil, but we are going to be also highlighting it with colored pencil as well. So glad you all could be with us. Hey, Melissa, good to be able to see you over there on Facebook. Glad to be able to see you as well. Melissa, tell me your thoughts. What do you think? As we so what you may have missed, I don't know if you're just coming in or not. We did some work on her hair. We did some work on the sides of her face. We did a little bit of chin work as well. Currently, right now, what we're doing is we are making some adjustments to her nose, and we're going into her lips. But tell me your thoughts, Melissa. I know it's upside down for you, but tell me what you're thinking, how you're thinking it is coming out so far. Now, as far as the nose goes, let's talk about noses. Noses can be challenging. I actually like doing noses, but one thing I'm noticing that I did with TAMRON's nose is that I have her tip too wide. That's going to be an easy fix for us to be able to do. So what I'm going to be able to do is to bring that in, as you can see, just erasing this here. And we're going to change the shape of her nose. And see, this is a cool thing again about art. You can make all of these changes. And see, typically, well, I'm doing it live, so you guys get to see it live. Most people would not even know the different things we've done to adjust. See that? See the difference that makes in just the nose? Just by making that little change there and changing the shape of her nose. Now, one thing I will say about TAMRON's nose, according to the angle that she's in and the picture I'm doing the drawing from, if you'll notice, though, there is a good bit of shadow, though. See that on the nostril of her? See that? So what I will need to do is to be able to add that. I can do that in shading, though. I don't have to draw it that large. But we will be able to make that as an adjustment. Okay. All right. So now that we have that, next thing we want to do is we want to go into a little bit more into the mouth. As you see, the mouth right now is completely what we call clean, which means there's nothing there but an outline. But I can already see, Melissa, one thing I was saying is when I could already see what I drew of her lips, I have them too crooked. And what I did was, because she's at an angle, I don't know what the right word would be to say, but I overextended her lip on this end. So I'm going to be able to fix that now when I'm able to go in. And see, all these little things are going to be course correct. That's what I did. I course corrected too much. But I'm going to be able to go in now and make that change. Now that, because if you remember last week what I did, I made sure that the dimensions were right for the nose and the mouth. I knew the dimensions were right. That did not mean, though, I had the correct shapes. So that's what I'm having to fix now. Also, now when it comes to the lips, I know, too, that I need to be able to make adjustments into the shape of her lips, okay? So that's what we're going to do. Now, how do I do that? So let me show you the way I do it. And you can, of course, be able to do, if you're drawing something similar to this, you can be able to do it like the way I do it, or find your own way. What I do is I take the corner of the lips and I create almost a little triangle. Okay. So if I'm looking at, see the corner of her lips here on the black and white one, the corner of her lip there, I'm using a little triangle to go into the nose. And what that should do is show me that the corner of her lips should almost connect with her nostrils. Okay, that's what should happen. So let's see if that's the case with me. And I could already tell it is not. So let's see what it should look like. So that should be one line here. So I need a little bit more lip on this end. And then on this side, let's see what we have. Okay, so what I noticed is I do have the overall shape correct, but I do need to bring her lip up. That's what's making the difference there. So there are a couple ways to be able to do this. Since I know her nose is correct, I don't want to move her nose any. But what I want to do is be able to bring up her lips. So that's what we're going to do here. And actually, it comes to find out I was wrong, guys. I thought it was this side of her mouth that was off. And the top lip, actually, on this one is right. It's this side that is off. So what I need to do is to bring this side up. That's what we're going to do. So to do that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to erase her top lip on what is my left side here. I'm going to erase that. And we're going to bring it up so that it fits our line that we're supposed to have, but also fits the shape of her face as well. Okay. So we're going to go in here. I'm going to go up. And we're going to go like that. And that is bringing the top lip up. So I thought this one was actually down too far. And actually looking at it now, according to my dimensions, it is correct. So next thing we want to do is the bottom of the top lip. We need to check that to make sure it is correct. Now, what we want to always make sure that we do when you're drawing a person, you want to make sure, and I can move this for a second to show you. What you want to always do is, you notice even with your face, even though our faces are not perfect in dimension, our nose should always be in the center of where the indent of our lips are, which means the same thing should be here. This should be the center of the indentation for her top lip. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is to make my adjustment on that based on what I'm seeing in the drawing. So we're going to go and make this like that. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about the bottom lip. Now the bottom lip, I have the shape all wrong, and that's fine. So what we're going to do is erase her bottom lip now. And so that's why I say to people, everything is fixable. Everything is fixable. So don't worry about getting it exactly right when you're first doing it. The main thing is, again, I cannot stress this enough, the main thing is the dimensions. Making sure you have the dimensions correct. If you have the dimensions correct, everything else, you can work with that. Okay. All right, so now we want to do her bottom lip. Okay, now what's interesting about the bottom lip as we see it in this particular drawing is the way in the particular picture. We'll show it to you guys. So it is what I drew was what I thought was her bottom lip, but actually her bottom lip goes in here. You see that? And so that means there's space then on each side. Remember I talked about that half smile earlier? So that means what we want to do is bring in the lips to here. And again, keeping in mind what we mentioned about making sure that everything is lined up correctly, because even though if it's our bottom lip, we want to make sure that it's lined up correctly. All right. I'll put that in here. And we're going to see what this looks like. See if we need to make some more adjustments. And then, of course, we have our chin. Now, I can tell by looking at this, currently, I need to give her a little bit more chin. A little bit more chin is what I need to add on to Tamron to make this work. And the reason being is because, again, you notice, see, there's a shadow that's here underneath her lip. And see how it makes almost like a C right there. You see that? A backward C? That's what I should be able to do here, is make that same backward C. So I want to be able to adjust her chin just a little bit. And again, that's going to help us in getting the shape. See, a lot of this is about shape, the shape of the face. If you get the shape of the face right, that's going to help people be able to better recognize what you're drawing, who you're drawing, what they look like. You see how that little difference, how these little differences make such a big deal. And we're just going to, so what I'm doing right now is I'm pulling. I'm doing what I call pulling. So I am erasing, but I'm also connecting. And you can see it there. So see the difference there on the face? You see what a difference that makes? And it looks like, let me just double check this. Okay, no, I think that's going to be okay. This one, I thought maybe I've course corrected too much here, but I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay. All right, so we're going to do some more erasing here. And you guys give me just a second. I'll be able to turn it back around so you can better be able to see exactly what I'm doing. So see, now you're able to see how the shape is starting to come more into focus? See that? Okay. And then when we get to the eyes and actually make the changes in the eyes, that's going to really, I think, help to bring it out. But let me go back in here on her lips. And go here. Because once we get the lips ready and we can start shading in, that's going to help us with everything else. Because then it'll help me knowing more about the textures and everything that we're putting in place here. Okay, so her lip, I'm going to go ahead again and bring this out. And there's going to always be, when you're doing a drawing like this, there will always be more fullness in the bottom lip. And so what you don't want to do is to minimize that, because otherwise that could cause it to look off as well. Okay. So I'm about to be able to turn it back around for you guys. I know it may be not as easy for you to be able to tell everything that we're doing from that angle that you're looking at now. But for me, it's a little bit easier to be able to do. Okay. All right. Okay. My time is really passing. So again, appreciate the hearts over there on the Amazon side. If you guys are new to us on the Amazon platform, please make sure you guys hit that follow button so you can stay connected with all of our programming. Again, you're watching the Art Spot, but we have programming here 6 days a week on Amazon currently. You have the Art Spot today on Tuesday. If you're watching us live, you will be able to find At Home with Cyrus Webb, where we share products. That's done in our other studio, in studio number C. And then, of course, we have our interviews that are done in Studio B as well. That's when you see me sitting down normally with my guest there as well. So, again, make sure you guys do hit that follow button to stay connected with us and all of our programming that we have here as well. We appreciate you. Make sure I'm not forgetting anyone that's coming in. Okay. All right. All right. So next, what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back around. But before I do that, I'm going to start filling in the hair. Now, you may say, Cyrus, you've already been filling in the hair. Well, I filled in the hair with a number 2 pencil, but a number 2 pencil is not very dark. So that's why I have this set of pencils. I'm going to go ahead and highlight it for you guys in the carousel again. The sketching pencils. That's for $15.99. So let me tell you what's cool about these. Again, you have different dimensions. So you have a 2B, which is a little bit darker. You have a 3B, 4B, you have 5B, 6B. I'm going to go actually with the 5B. And the 5B is going to give us a nice darkness to it. And that's going to help me when it comes to her hair. So I'm going to go ahead, as you can see, these are unsharpened. So we do have to sharpen these. Keep in mind that the pencils that are in this set, they do not come with erasers. So that's why having the erasers like I have here, see, got a nice, so yeah, that's perfect. And again, this is the 4B, as you guys can see there, the 4B that I'm using here. The set that I'm using here goes all the way up, as you guys can see. I think to 8B, which is really dark. I normally use 4B or 5B when I'm doing hair. And let me tell you why I'm doing the hair before I get into other parts of the face. Because at what you'll notice with the majority of drawings that you do, the hair is typically going to be the darkest part of the body, especially when you're dealing with someone with black hair, right? That's going to be the darkest part. Once we get that more enhanced, then we're able to see better how we're able to get the other shades of the person. Because what you don't want the mistake of is having a darker person than you have the hair, okay? And so like in this situation that we're doing now with Tamron, you can see how the hair really stands out. And as you can notice in my drawing, see how light, even though it's filled in, see how light that is? What we want to do is make sure that we get that darkened in, because that's going to also help me when we do what we talked about earlier with her smoky eye and the other things dealing with her eyes. So again, right now for you, the eyes look really big, right? But that's going to change when we actually start getting eyelashes in and getting her, filling in her eyebrows more. That's going to really change. You can see here, it looking more like this, where she has her eyebrows, but then she has that smoky eye. Remember, I keep telling you guys, see how that makes the eye look bigger. But I'm going to be able to enhance that when we actually get into it. But to do that, I need to have, again, a darker pencil, which is why I'm using the 4B. So let's go into the hair. And what I normally do when it comes to hair is I make sure that I am going in the direction of the actual hair. You don't want to go across when you're doing this. You want to go around, because you want to have the illusion of it really being hair. That's the whole thing, okay? Especially like in her case, where you can see she has almost little bangs there in her face. You want to make sure that it actually looks like hair, and that's what the 4B is going to help us do. So let's go ahead and dive into that. So I'm just going to start here, and again, to start going out. And as I'm going out, I'm not going to do it like I'm drawing. I'm going to do it like I'm actually doing individual lines. But can you already see the difference? I can see it there in the camera. You see the difference, though, in this darkness versus that? You see that? See, that's the cool thing about having the darker pencils, because what that's going to allow us to do is actually be able to add more dimension to her hair. But you can already see the difference. See how darker that is than that? All of that just by using this 4B pencil. And again, we're going to keep going in the direction of the hair, because that's going to make it look more like hair. So you can see that's what I'm doing. So you can easily tell the difference. See that? See how dark that is versus that? And again, this set is only $15.99. Really comes in handy. And I will say this too, for those, again, who didn't join us for the first week, this also is why I chose to use a canvas to draw this on instead of just using paper. Because with the canvas, as you can tell by the noise it's making, I have a texture to be able to work with. And our hair, our face, all of that is texture, right? So that makes it a whole lot better. So you notice on this side. So now we're going on this side, and see how that color is coming in? Again, the great thing about having a darker pencil and that's what's going to give us that darker look for our hair and make it look more quote unquote real. Now, when it comes to dealing with her bangs, we're going to go down, sweep down, just like the hair is, and then sweep back up. So again, the main thing is not to go across. Make sure that you're going so that it actually looks like, see, actually looks like hair. That's what you want to do there. Again, going back on this side, same thing. Seeing where the swishes is in her hair, where the bangs are, to make sure it looks like it's actually coming from her hair and her head. So again, the main thing here is you can see, definitely can see the difference there. And again, this is not even the darkest one, but I will tell you why I didn't go with the darkest, because it does make a difference. If you go too dark, that means then sometimes you have to overcompensate with the subject's color. So what I like to do is I do this size, this shade, so then I'm able to see, okay, any adjustments I may need to make to the actual color of the person as I'm actually doing it. But you see how we were able to fill that in? Again, just using this 4B pencil. But again, giving it the dimension that it needs so that it looks like it's hair. And we're going to go over this. I typically go over it a couple times. For one, just to make sure. And I will tell you guys another trick that I use as well. If you'll notice when I'm doing it, I'm leaving highlights in there because that, again, gives it the illusion of real hair. See that? So it makes it look like real hair there. So I'm not filling it in completely from the lighter hair that I drew with the number 2, but I'm filling it in enough that you can tell that there are almost like little highlights in her hair. That, again, adds to the realism of it. Okay. But see, just in doing that, you can already tell the difference. Okay. So next, what are we going to do? We're going to go up here and check and see, do I have her eyebrows correct? Because that's going to be the next thing. And looking at this now, again, this is why it's been great for me. I don't work on these projects outside of what we're doing here with the show. So looking at it now, I appreciate the hearts over there on Amazon. Thank you so much for that. I can see that this eyebrow here, it's going up too high. This one's too high. And the way I look at that is, if you notice here, see, it almost makes like a curve like that. That's what mine should be doing. And it looks like mine's going to be a little, mine's going to be a little off. Not by much, but it's enough for me to now to be able to notice it. So let's go ahead and get that fixed next. I'm going to check to make sure that we have enough forehead for her here. That looks good. So when we get ready to get to that part, I am going to go ahead and let's fix this one over here, because this one on this side, on my right, as I'm doing this now, looks fine. But we're going to go now, we're going to fix this one here. Okay. And again, we're just going to do some erasing here. And we're going to do some mini blending. Now, what the mini blending is doing, it allows me to erase without it making it too harsh. Okay, that's what I'm doing now with the mini blending there. So I'm erasing without making it too harsh. So we're going to go look at this. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see what we got here. I'm going to go ahead and bring this in just a little bit. And again, this is the importance of shapes, making sure the shapes are the way they're supposed to be. And we're going to go here. Okay, so we're going to bring this down. That's what needs to happen. I'm going to bring this eyebrow down. Okay. And see how those little things, like I was telling you, those little things make such a difference. This eyebrow's down too much on this end, so we're going to bring that up some. And another thing, again, this is why having these erasers are so important too, because it allows us to be able to easily make these changes without creating too much of a mess. Okay. Okay. I'm going to bring this in just a little bit more. Okay. And let's see what we got over on this side. I'm going to bring this in just a little bit more here. Okay. And it looks like, I just noticed, she needs a little bit more fullness on this end. So we're going to give her that fullness that she needs there. And that's going to help us too with the shape. Okay. So it looks like we may have one more week on this project for those who are joining us. So this is week number 3. And again, like I mentioned, I'm not working on this outside of whatever you're doing with this show every week. So you guys have literally seen me from the very beginning. Again, this is week number 3. From the very beginning, being able to draw this out and to put it together. So that's been pretty cool. Let's see. Gonna go over here, and we're going to just change the shape up just a little bit on this side. It looks like. Okay. And there we go. Going to do a little bit more of the mini shading here. Getting that there. Okay, so as you remember too, the lines that we drew in the face when we were kind of mapping everything out, remember I told you about we mapped everything out? I'm going to go ahead and make sure that those are erased in the face so that they don't confuse me as I am doing the rest of my drawing. So I'm going to make sure that those are erased. And I could actually use, my Mr. Pen. I'm just using this since I had it in my hand. So I can get that done. And it looks like over here, we need to add a little bit more on that side. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So we're really starting to come along here, it looks like. So what we're going to be doing next, and these lines, I can erase these too, because those were just instruction lines. Those won't be staying there. And again, I notice I'm doing all of this with the number 2 pencil. Again, this is a pencil that, if you have kids, they use in school. And then just making sure we're doing our erasing there. Okay. And let's see what we got here. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. Yeah, this is really starting to come together now. So you can see these projects, you think about, we've only been working on this, not even 5 hours? And look at what we've been able to do together since we started it. But it goes to what I say every time, and you'll hear me continue to say it. It really begins with the foundation, making sure we have the foundation right, making sure that we make sure our dimensions are correct. And that's going to help us. Now look at that. See how she's coming to life now? Look at that. So next thing we're going to be doing when I join you guys next week, we're going to go ahead and fix her eyes. And when I say fix her eyes, we know they're in the right place. We have to be able to give her some eyelashes, and then to be able to create that smoky eye effect that we have there. That's what we're going to be doing next week. So I hope you guys will join us for that. Again, all of the products that I'm using for this show today, you can find in my carousel. So make sure you guys do check that out if you're an artist or you have friends that are artists. These are great things for you guys to be able to get. You can notice everything's affordable. And these are things, as you can tell, that I'm genuinely using myself that really not only help to get the job done, but can help you do it in an affordable way as well. Okay. So thank you guys so much for joining me for this week's episode of The Art Spot. I will be back to you guys next week. And I do believe we probably can finish this up next week. I really believe that. So I hope you guys will join us in. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.